Today we're talking all things Genie Plus. So you guys have been asking me for months to create a vlog about Genie Plus and kind of how our family uses it. And it's taken me a while because I feel like it's kind of confusing to explain it. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to use it on a couple different trips to be able to give you the best information on how it worked for us. So the two trips that we've taken using it, the first one was in December. It was right before Christmas. I think it was like the first or second week of December. And the second one was for spring break. So both weeks obviously are more peak weeks, though I will say spring break seemed much busier than our Christmas trip. Let's start with explaining exactly what is Genie Plus. So Genie Plus is a paid ride reservation system that allows you to bypass standby lines and be able to utilize a lightning lane to get on most attractions in a shorter amount of wait time. Think of it like a modern day fastpass. Though unlike fastpass where it was free, this service actually does cost $15 a day per person utilizing it. So when we're talking about Genie Plus, there's actually two different types of Genie Plus. There is a popular ride, $15 a day for the entire day for all those rides included. And then there are individual lightning lanes that are a separate cost per attraction. And as of now, there's only one per park. So we have Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Magic Kingdom. We've got Remy Ratatouille at Epcot. There's Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom, and then Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios. We have since found out, starting yesterday, that Guardians will also have a paid lightning lane, so it's to be determined whether Remy will stay or not. The cost of those individual lightning lanes can vary, and it depends on the ride attraction, and then it also depends on season. So we've seen it range between about $7 to $15 for each one of those lightning lanes. So there are two ways to purchase Genie Plus. One is to buy it prior to your trip, and it will be added on for every day that you have a park ticket. The second way is to purchase it per day. And the way our family uses it, and probably how I would recommend most first-time users, is to just purchase it per day. I think that really allows you to be able to test it out, try it out, see if you like it. For us, it makes sense because we used it differently each day in each park. So I'll get into that in a little bit, but just kind of wanted to give you the flexibility to not have to have that cost for every day when you might not use it. So how you purchase it for the individual days is you're gonna go into your My Disney Experience app. And on your homepage, you're gonna scroll down about a quarter of the way and you'll see a purple banner and it'll say, take today to the next level, purchase Genie Plus for today. And you're going to click on that. It'll then explain to you how you're gonna be using lightning lanes. It also includes the AR photo lenses that you can use throughout the day. And there's some audio tails as well that you have access to for Genie Plus. We did use the AR lenses. They're actually super fun. A great way to kind of spend some time while you are in maybe in a standby line or waiting for food. So the kids really got a kick out of it. So once you tap on the Get Genie Plus service, it will take you to a screen which will show you per day how much it's going to be costing, which for Walt Disney World is $15. It'll show the information for whoever's account that you're in. So if you are looking to add on multiple people who are linked to your account, you can just tap on that edit button and it will take you to a screen to be able to add on, pick and choose who you are linked to on your My Disney Experience. So as you can see, I selected the family that was with me and then confirm my party. It will then take you to a page that will show you the total that you'll be charged to be able to purchase Genie Plus for the selected party below. It'll next take you to some screens to actually perform the payment for Genie Plus. It does give you an option to use a Disney gift card, I believe Disney Rewards, and then a credit card. So you just want to make sure you input all your information, and then it does add tax onto it, and then you can continue. And it'll give you a screen that says, thank you, you are confirmed. You'll also receive an email confirming that your payment went through and you're all set to go. So when you're purchasing Genie Plus for the individual day, you can purchase it anytime after midnight for that day. So because you can make your first selection at 7 a.m., I recommend actually purchasing it between midnight and probably like 6:45, just so you're prepared. I usually get up about 6:30, 6:45 and go ahead and purchase it. That way I'm set and ready to go. I have heard some people say that there were some glitches before. That's why I try to give myself a little bit of padding of time. But personally, I've never had an issue purchasing it. So now that you bought it, what do you do with it? If you are staying on property, then you can make your first lightning lane selection for Genie Plus at 7 a.m. This gives you an advantage over non-resort guests that cannot make their first selection until park opening. So I pull up my browser, time.is website, which actually gives you a countdown of time with seconds even, so I know when exactly it's going to be 7 o'clock, because this is a live site and things go very quickly. So I like to be in there just immediately. I will say if you're choosing Genie Plus lightning lanes and individual lightning lanes at the same time, it does help to have two people actually doing this. So my husband and I, we work really good together as a team. I usually do the Genie Plus lightning lane, and then he will choose the individual paid lightning lane for whatever parks we're going to be in. If you don't have somebody else there that can help you with it, my suggestion is get the Genie Plus lightning lane first and then do the individual lightning lanes, because the Genie Plus selection lightning lanes, I believe, go a lot quicker than the individual lightning lanes. So how to actually make a selection, you're gonna go to your tip board and you're going to ensure that at the very top, the park that is selected is the park that you're going to be at today. In our case, it seemed like it always defaults to Magic Kingdom. So if you're going to be at a different park, make sure that you change that park. Also, this is affects when you are actually going to make an individual lightning lane for later on the day, possibly if you are park hopping. So ensure that you change that park to whatever park that you're going to be booking your Genie Plus lightning lanes for. Kind of a pro tip that we have is prior to 7 o'clock, whichever ride that you are interested in doing a lightning lane for, I scroll to the app, I actually tap on that selection, which will then open up in another page to that individual attraction. Go ahead and get out of it. And then once you refresh the page, it will take you automatically to that attraction. So where it kind of helps, because your attractions are all listed in alphabetical order, is if you're looking for Slinky Dog and you refresh, you'd have to then give a scroll, which doesn't seem like a very long time. It's maybe a second, but a second on that site can make the difference between a 10 o'clock lightning lane or a 7 o'clock in the evening lightning lane. So by having that kind of already set up, it helps be able to get to your selection a lot quicker. So then when you get to that attraction, my suggestion is don't think. Just tap, tap, tap all the way through to be able to get the time that you wanted. Now, a lot of times when the first initial tap, it'll give you a time, and by the end you get to actually booking it, may be a different time. So I understand that is frustrating, but again, because it's a live site, people are automatically pulling it, so it will give you whatever the next closest time was. So something we did a little bit on our last trip, and I've been hearing a lot of people doing more, is because things go so quickly, if Slinky Dog really is the ride that you want, and by the time you get to it, it's either gone, not available, or it's at a time that doesn't work for you, we have been noticing at like 7:10, 7:15, 7:20, 7:30, somewhere in that time, they are dropping more lightning lanes for attractions. So it's not guaranteed that it's an early time, and they seem to kind of be all over the place. So if you're willing to take a chance and not book anything and wait for them to maybe refresh it, then I would suggest doing that. Okay, so when your partner or yourself are booking the individual lightning lanes, when you tap on the selection, it will give you bubbles at the top of your screen with hours. So from anywhere from park opening to park closing, each hour increment. So again, if you're park hopping, make sure you're selecting a time after 2 o'clock. If it's the park that you're gonna be in, you can obviously select at any time, but again, you wanna be quick with it. And I'll give you an example. We wanted to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train with Bill and Teresa because that's a fun ride and we haven't rode with them in a long time. So we purchased the individual lightning lane for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. When we first clicked on it, it said noon. By the time we got to the payment screen, it said 8 o'clock at night. Well, unfortunately, we had dinner reservations at that time, so that time was not gonna work for us. So we were patient and we figured, okay, well, when we get to the park, we'll talk to somebody at guest relations and see if they can help us. And I'll tell you how to fix it at the end. So you've bought Genie Plus, you've made your first selection, you're headed to the parks. Now what do? When you're ready to book your second lightning lane for Genie Plus, you can do it one of two ways. You can book your next one once you double tap at the magic band tap point at the attraction that you had your first lightning lane for, or you can book 2 hours after park opening, whichever comes first. So here's my example. You're going to Magic Kingdom for the day. The park opens at 8:30. You were able to book a lightning lane for Big Thunder Mountain at 9:30. So when you head to Big Thunder Mountain, you double tap, and again, this is important. So the first tap allows you into the ride. The second tap allows you to book another one. So just keep that in mind. Once you do that first tap, don't start scrolling for that because it won't allow you to book it until you double tap in. So once you double tap in, you're able to scroll it and find another attraction and be able to book it. So let's say I wasn't able to book my first selection within the first 2 hours the park's opening. Let's say, actually I'll give you an example from our last trip. We booked Jungle Cruise because I know Bill and Teresa really wanted to go on it. They talked about just having watched the Imagineer special on it. So, and I knew that was a ride that the wait times tend to get a little high for, so I wanted to book it. By the time I was able to book it at 7 a.m., I was only able to get a return time for 12:15. So I had that booked. So then the park opened at 8:30 that morning, so I knew at 10:30 I was going to be able to book another lightning lane, even though we haven't done our first lightning lane. So my suggestion to you, again, is use your phone. Set an alarm to be able to remind yourself when you're able to book your next lightning lane. Because everyone knows you're at the park, you're having fun, you're not paying attention, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to book another one. And you're kind of missing precious moments to be able to book another one. Because again, things go very quickly. A couple weeks ago, Disney actually put out stating that Genie Plus would be able to give you about 2 to 3 rides in a lightning lane standby. Which during Christmas, we were actually able to use a lot more. But we did notice that on our spring break trip, it did seem like we were only able to get 2 to 3 rides per day. And again, that depended on what park we were at. If you ever forget when your 2-hour time limit is, you can always try to book something, make a selection on the tip board, and once it takes you to the next screen, it will show you what the time frame is when you are eligible to be able to get your next lightning lane. All right, let's talk about stacking. So we went to Hollywood Studios. We were able to get a Genie Plus lightning lane for Slinky Dog. And then while we were there, we were able to get additional ones for Star Tours and Alien Swirling Saucers. But after that, Hollywood Studios was packed and there was really nothing available for lightning lanes that was within a time frame that was gonna work for us because we weren't spending all day at the park. We were actually gonna go over to Epcot and park hop later on in the day. So once we were able to utilize those lightning lanes, we started stacking. And stacking gives you the opportunity to be able to book rides way in advance, maybe for a night park. So the way we did it is we knew we were going over to Epcot. We were actually gonna leave Hollywood Studios, plan for some pool time, we were gonna grab dinner, and then we were gonna go over to Epcot later. So during that time that we were at the pool, that we were at dinner, every 2 hours we were searching the app and we were booking things for Epcot. And that really worked out well for us. We were able to get Soarin', we were able to get Frozen, and then I was able to get us Test Track, believe it or not. So it really worked out well for us to be able to stack it. The other benefit with doing that is then the next time we went to Epcot, we actually didn't feel a need to purchase Genie Plus because we had already kind of used it in conjunction with our Hollywood Studios day. So it made it a little bit nicer that we had like a day off of refreshing and scrolling the app. When you are stacking, I will again let you know that refreshing is your friend. So we've refreshed a lot when we were in a standby line, if we were waiting for food, again, when we were at the pool, refresh, 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 and you will find things that pop up because people change their plans all the time, cancel lightning lanes. And so sometimes some good ones pop up that you would be surprised with. I also felt like between 3 and 5, they were dropping some because that's when I was able to get Test Track, and I was shocked I was able to get Test Track. And I think I was able to get that for about like an hour later. It wasn't even like park closing. So now I know refreshing is kind of a bummer because you are on your phone and you are a little bit disconnected from actually enjoying the park. So that's completely a personal decision as far as what you're comfortable doing. Sometimes Mike will refresh, sometimes I will refresh. Sometimes we make it a game and say, okay, for the next 15 minutes, let's both refresh and see who can get what. So, you know, we kind of make a challenge out of it. It's just because we love the rides, and so on certain days we want to do a lot and do as many as possible, but it's not every day of our trip. Let's now talk about the problems. One of the main issues that I have with Genie Plus is that it doesn't offer you any type of way to modify your lightning lane selection. So once you have selected it, if you decide to switch it to something else, you have to cancel that lightning lane to be able to book another one. And the reason that that's frustrating is because you are no longer having this reservation. Somebody else can take that while you're taking the chance to be able to snag this. And there have been times, trust me, where we've scrolled, refreshed, and we thought we had something, and by the time you get to the screen to confirm, somebody else has already snagged it. So I don't like the idea of having to lose out to possibly get something else. As you guys remember, the last fastpass system gave you an option to modify, which was great because if you tried to modify it and somebody else snagged it, you still had your original selection. So I'm not quite sure why Disney decided to create a new system that didn't have all the benefits from the old system, and now they're making you pay for it. So I'm hoping that in the future that will change. So if you ever receive like a survey, or if you're in the parks and you're talking to guest relations, please let them know of any suggestions that you have, because they will pass them along, and hopefully Disney listens to that and adjusts it. Also, if you have a lightning lane and you're choosing possibly not to do it, my suggestion is cancel it. So the reason you want to do that is for two reasons. One, it gives somebody else the opportunity to snag it if you're not going to use it. And two, if you decide later on that you want to do that ride and book another lightning lane for later, you are not able to get a lightning lane for it, because Genie Plus only allows you to get one lightning lane per attraction per day. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we had an issue getting a individual lightning lane for a Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in a time frame that actually worked for us. So again, the issue was we booked it in the morning. It initially said noon. By the time we got to the payment page, it said like 8 or 8:15, which wasn't gonna work for us. So when we went into Magic Kingdom, we were having a great day. There are guest experience umbrellas and kiosks all around the park in different lands. So it makes it really easy to be able to access somebody where you're not waiting in a long line, possibly at guest relations at the front of the park. So my suggestion is go in and find one of those umbrella, a kiosk with some cast members in it, and then address your issue there and allow them to take care of you. So that's what we did. There actually was a kiosk by the Little Mermaid ride, so we went over there and talked to them and kind of explained our issue. And because this was a paid lightning lane, they were able to adjust the time for us back to what we originally thought, which was like 12 or 12:15. So that was super nice to be able to get somebody to help us. They have been mentioning that that was an issue, and obviously once you pay it and buy a lightning lane, you're not able to cancel it. You're already being charged that amount. So that's nice that they were able to adjust it. I will say that only works for the paid lightning lane passes. So there was a gentleman next to me who was having issues booking Big Thunder Mountain and was at the same kiosk and talked to the cast member next to me, and he was trying to get a different time, and the cast member explained to them that they were not able to help them because there were no lightning lane times available for Big Thunder Mountain. So it seems like when you buy it in the Genie Plus package, they're limited to exactly what we see on the site as far as being able to adjust times and help people out. Also, when you're going up to these kiosks and you're talking to the cast members, be patient, be polite, say hi. You know, it's their job to deal with issues all day long. So, you know, smiling and being friendly and not taking any type of frustration or anger out on them is just so important, because they really are doing like the frontline work. Was it get more flies with honey? So the nicer you are, usually they can try and help you out. A pro tip that we had was using Genie Plus lightning lanes in addition to a resort early entry rope drop was the way that we maximized it the most during our spring break trip. So not only did we get in at rope drop because we stay on a resort, we got in 30 minutes extra, and then utilize those lightning lanes, and we were able to get usually 3, 4, sometimes 5 a day. So we just thought that that was helpful. We've also noticed that when stacking, it obviously helps to stay until park close, because usually the last hour of the park, some of the ride times can go down, especially if it's during a fireworks time, or if it's Animal Kingdom. We noticed that Flight of Passage has gotten a lot lower the last hour. And also take into consideration that there are still wait times that are being shown that we felt were a little bit padded or exaggerated. Not all the time. I do feel like they're getting a little bit more correct as far as the estimate, but at the end of the night, I felt like there were some times where it would say something was 75 minutes and it was maybe 30, or it was saying it was 15, you know, or it was saying it was 30 and it was actually a walk-on. So kind of keep that into consideration when you're choosing to do a standby line versus a paid lightning lane. So the main question that people ask is, did we think it was worth it? And for our family, it is. Though I don't think we necessarily need to buy it every single day. Like I mentioned earlier, with stacking or possibly park hopping, you might be able to get everything that you want to do in 2 different parks done in one day. There are times that we have gone to Animal Kingdom and just gotten the individual lightning lane for Flight of Passage and done all the other rides on standby. Again, it just depends on what time of year that you're actually traveling. If you're taking advantage of that early morning resort guest rope drop, or if you're staying at the end of the night to be able to maybe do some of those other rides in lower standby wait lines. Also want to let you guys know that we will be going to the preview for the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind roller coaster at Epcot in a few weeks. So make sure you check out our Instagram page. There is a link in the description where you can then go ahead and follow us there so you can get things in real time. I will be putting out a vlog later on with the experience, but that way you can get things in real time. We also might be purchasing Genie Plus for a day or 2, so we'll have a little more information on that if you have further questions. All right, so I've talked your ear off. So again, I hope you felt like this was helpful to you. Comment below whether you've used it and any tips maybe that I had missed giving, or any issues that you guys have had with it, and I will do my best to answer those. So thanks for listening to me just ramble on, and we'll see you next time. Go live your DisGoals. Bye.